everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode. Wow, I've already fucked it up. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Steam Machine Podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me, as always, are the Brothers of Destruction.
Nate.
Willie.
Yeah, enthusiasm. Like Captain Planet.
Yeah, I feel good today. I got a lot of rest this week. Didn't have much choice because I've been kind of laid up with a knee injury, but I got a lot of rest.
Hey, man, sometimes you gotta take it where you can get it, right?
Yep. Right? That's true of many things.
Yes, absolutely. I need to pull my show notes back up. So, right off the bat, gentlemen, how are you doing? Woodley, you said you're doing good. Nate, how about you, buddy? How are you feeling?
Man, I've been a little bit better, honestly. I went to the doctor yesterday, found out that I might have a thing in my ear. Let me see what that's called. A cholesteatoma, which is basically like a calcium-ish tumor growing inside of my ear. So it would basically mean I'd have to get surgery to have it removed and all that fun stuff.
Ooh.
But I've got, not good stuff. But I have an appointment with an ear, nose, and throat specialist tomorrow, so Wednesday. So hopefully I'll have an update on then and see what they say if I need to get, scheduled in for that or whatever. But, things happen. I'm not going to try to let it affect too much, but if it does happen where I have to surgery, I'll probably be out for a week, so I'll probably have to record one without me. So, but I have no idea when in the future that'll occur.
Now, is it like benign? Like
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good. That's a good thing to know right off the bat. Is like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that right off the bat. Yeah, it's nothing like I don't have like inner ear cancer or anything that we know of yet. Like unless the ENT says something crazy and I'm gonna be upset. But right now, we're good.
I remember a medical issue that I had one time where I had to go to the doctor about it, and the doctor's like, leaves the room, and I'm just kind of sitting there. She comes back in with a glove on, and I went, "Oh, that's never good." She's like, "I need you to drop your trousers and bend over." I was like,
Well, it just got better.
Right. I was like, I don't know, not that long out of high school, so I was probably like 20, 21, which is pretty young to get this done, right? But it was just, I have stomach issues, so they were just trying to get us, I don't know, they were doing whatever they do. But I didn't ask questions, I just let her do it. So anyway, the kicker is that they can't do it alone in the room. They have to have like a nurse in there or somebody in there with them. And she brings in one of the fine ass girls that I went to school with to come in there. And so she's standing by me, and I've kind of just like got my arm in my hand, and then like my other hand on my cheek, and I'm just kind of perched there, leaning over while what's happening. And I look at her and I said, "So Tristy, how are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm doing good, Dalton. How are you doing?" I was like, "Been better."
Oh man, that had to be mortifying, my dude.
It was definitely interesting. It was definitely interesting. But we never brought it up again, so it is what it is.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel like your two choices there are either to recoil in terror and pretend you're not there, or just roll with the punches the moment it starts. And I think that was the right play.
I'm just glad that I'm one of those people that if I know I'm going to the doctor, I shower.
Yeah, no joke.
Like, because I would hate to be in a situation where like you had to rush to the doctor from somewhere else and then have that. Oh God, I just don't even want to think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Steam Machine Podcast where we talk about fingers and butts. Woo!
Our Tadpog influence is showing so much today.
Shout out Tadpog, Tyler and Dave play old games. Those guys rule. If you're into retro gaming, check them out. So this week, I believe it was Saturday, I worked a 13-hour shift, and it was interesting. So like I went in at like 11 in the morning or whatever, and because we were having a drag show brunch, and
Cool.
it was supposed to be like doors open at noon, and they come in, they get their food, they eat and stuff, and then at 1 o'clock the show starts. Well, it comes like 1:15, 1:30, the show hadn't started yet. So the show was supposed to go from 1 to 2, and then we were closed from whenever everybody left till 4 o'clock. The show went on a little longer than that, which was awesome because the show was badass. If I remembered the names of any of the dancers, I would shout them out, but they were awesome.
They always have such great names. I'm a little disappointed you couldn't bring one back with you. A name, I mean.
Oh, man. Oh goodness, yeah, I can't remember. And it's killing me.
If one hits you over the course of the show, just blurt it out. Don't waste. Don't
I have a flyer for it around somewhere, but I don't remember where. But so they were doing their show and all of that, and some of them, like I told you all this offline, like I was like legitimate, like damn, like they look fine in their little get up, like it was impressive. It was really impressive. And then the funny part too was after the show was over, was them coming back in out of dress up. And then being able to walk by everybody they just performed in front of, and nobody fucking knew it was them. Like, it was pretty funny. But I had a good time.
That had to be a great time, man. That sounds like a blast.
It was really, really
like I've been to a drag brunch before, and that was a great time. Just imagine like working at one while they're doing their thing, and that just seems like you'd see so many great reactions on all your customers' faces.
Oh yeah, dude. And there was this one. They brought this poor little white girl up, this skinny, frail white girl it was her birthday, and they were trying to get her to dance with them, and she did her best. She was like started I realized, like, when she tried to shake her butt and realized that she had no butt to shake, she started trying to do some TikTok dances, and at that point I was like and some people started throwing money at her, so I was like, all right, at least she's getting a response.
Get your lunch paid for, right?
Yeah. It was around that time that me and Nick stepped out back to smoke a bone before we had to get back to doing nothing. So, like, after the brunch was over and everybody left, it was about 4:00, and we didn't see anybody else come in the fucking restaurant till, like, I don't know, 8 maybe. And then the people that came in at 8, there was a whole bar full, and then our little VIP lounge thing was full, and they stayed until we closed at 11. Like, it was wild. They just kept buying drinks, dude. Our bartender made bank, so, like, I'm not going to give his name, so it doesn't matter, but, like, he makes $10 an hour plus tips, and he made $199 in tips that night.
Pretty good.
I was like, dude, if I ever move up in this place, I want to be the fucking bartender. Like, man.
Oh yeah, like when I worked in restaurants, it was definitely the bartenders who made the best tips. For sure.
Yeah. Well, he gave me, Nick, and Grant all $20 at the end of the night, so that was nice of him.
That's nice, yeah. You gotta love when people share the wealth, man.
2 other quick things I wanted to touch on. I heard one of the funniest things I ever heard when I was watching Raw today. It was an older episode. Paul Heyman was on commentary. And do you gentlemen remember Stacy Keibler?
Of course.
Yeah.
How could you forget?
Yes, every man's dream girl back then. And I'm sure still now. I haven't seen her recently, but I'm sure she is aged like fine wine. So she's doing her thing where she goes to get in the ring, and she's real slow as she gets in. And Paul Heyman just goes, "Damn, I've never wanted to be that middle rope more." And then the next episode she did it, and he just went, "God, I wish I was that middle rope." And it just, every time he said it, just cracked me the fuck up. And then
man, you're blowing through those eps pretty quick then, huh? I thought you were in like 1998 a couple weeks ago.
I was. I've just been having it play all day on my side monitor. Even like when I go to sleep, I just let it play. So I think I'm up into 2002 now. The invasion stuff just ended.
You're flying through it,
Triple
man.
H has just come. Last night I watched Triple H's return after he had torn his quad, and that's still one of the loudest crowd moments I've ever heard. He was gone for 8 months. When he came back, the roof off of Madison Square Garden should have blown the fuck off. It was wild.
Yeah, you're gonna have to start watching Nitro or whatever ECW show was called soon.
That's
Hardcore TV.
That's next on my list, because I did start WCW a few weeks ago too. I didn't stick with it, but because I got caught up in what I was watching on Raw. But I did start Nitro from '96, around when the NWO started.
Okay.
So like I was
about to say it's a little weird if you start from 1994 because the show changes really rapidly when the NWO shows up.
Yeah, I was gonna start with the NWO, and I picked a little bit after because I've seen the, "You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here." I've seen that. I've seen Hogan's turn.
Okay.
Like I'm knowledgeable about all of that. It's just pieces after that I'm not 100% about. And it's been interesting watching Raw and all of a sudden getting these little memories of things that I remember watching when I was younger. So it'll be interesting to me too, because I used to flip back and forth between Raw and Nitro. So,
Same.
Yeah, I bet that'd be a trip, actually, to go back and watch stuff that I was watching when I was in middle school and stuff, you know?
Dude, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Peacock, $9.99 a month. You get WWE Network plus a whole bunch of other shit. I don't even know.
I have Peacock. I'm not sure. I don't watch a lot of TV, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess I have it on my second monitor while I'm over here gaming or doing whatever. But ECW, dude, if you never really watched much ECW, that's a very strangely put together show.
Yeah, that's the word. It was like an hour long, and every segment just nothing really ends. It just continues moving to the next.
It's a clip
thing.
show. It is a wrestling clip show that, and I think as it got a little like further on, maybe it started being pieced together a little better. But in the beginning, it was like they would cut to a match in the middle of the match, and you might see the end of it, you might not. It might just cut to a promo, like. And the promos were always really good. That was where ECW shined, where dudes on the mic were all really good.
Or if you just like to watch somebody get body slammed into a bunch of thumbtacks. I mean,
that too. It did have the blood and guts stuff as well. Yeah, you had Balls Mahoney and those guys.
Sandman.
I'm a little worried about watching it on Peacock though, because to my understanding, like they cut stuff a little bit when they like cut it up for the WWE Network, but mostly for copyright. But I think that they've done content-related edits on Peacock, and I imagine they were probably a lot more knife happy with the ECW and WCW stuff.
That's a possibility. I know the ECW, none of them used their original music because back then,
It was all just, Sandman literally came out to enter Sandman beating on his head with a cane for 5 minutes.
Without
and that's
paying for it.
Absolute
they
nightmare.
just fucking did it.
Of course not. No. No.
Which is just hilarious. But yeah, so ECW is a good watch, don't get me wrong. It's just, it's different. You have to go into it with a different mindset, really.
Yeah.
ECW happened so fast, too. Like, it's crazy, the timeline. Like, the stuff that there's like an early ECW, and then like all of a sudden all the stuff you think of as the ECW stuff like all happened within the course of like a year or two.
Yeah, from like 97, 98, like that was crucial ECW, whereas like ECW started I think in like 93, 92, something like way back, and it was Eastern Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, I don't think they became ECW as we know Extreme Championship Wrestling until, what was it, Shane Douglas with the NWA title in like 1994. I was never a Shane Douglas fan, but I went back to some of that material and I'm like, okay, I can see why they thought he was actually something.
Yeah, he was really good on the mic too, but yeah, when he cut that promo about all these winners of the NWA title can all kiss his ass and he threw it on the ground and he was like, I'm the Extreme Championship Wrestling champion, like that was some shit back then. Like that caused the big controversy. So I also added some new games to the list this week. Just a bundle that I saw. So I got the Surge 2. I literally put that in the bundle because I have the Surge 1, so I figured why not.
Is that about the really green soda that later got replaced by Vault?
Hey, Surge is back, dude. I drank a Surge not that long ago.
I just need him to bring back Josta.
Yeah, now that's what I'm talking about. Josta is crazy.
Josta. I know Jamie Josta, the lead singer of Hatebreed, but I don't know about the drink Josta.
It was a guarana flavored cola before guarana just became like the additive that they use in all the energy drinks. It had like this cool little panther on the bottle and like kind of like I want to say it was like an African themed bottle, even though guarana's from South America.
I used to drink a guarana drink called BAWLS.
BAWLS? Yeah.
BAWLS was so good. And they still sell it. You can get it online. I've thought about ordering a case, but it's expensive. But man, just for that nostalgic cream soda-esque flavor that I have in my head of how it tasted. Oh man.
I really liked the bottle. Wasn't it the one that had like the little semicircle like orbs throughout the whole outside of the bottle? It had this almost ribbed effect.
Yeah, it had grip because it was like,
cool.
You're going to need grip to hold on to this. You'll have so much energy, you'll be shaking and things like that. Like,
also, have a good grip to hold on to balls.
Exactly.
I'm glad we're not a video podcast because the way we were both mimicking gripping the drink was pretty questionable.
Also, just in case anybody wants to look it up, it's BAWLS, like bawling, crying. Not that makes saying it any better when you're like, yo, yeah, dude, balls taste great. Like,
I think that was like half the allure, like people be like, hey, you want some balls?
Also,
Got him.
I'm going to put this out to the ethos. So, my dad used to play at this venue in High Springs, Florida called the Theater of Memory. And it was a really cool place. Like along the walls it had like 1800s farm tech all the way up into like the birth of the computer, and then like a Nintendo Game Boy and stuff up on the wall all the way up until this was 2008, 9, somewhere on in there. So, you know, whatever tech was around back then. And it might have even been earlier than that. It might have been more like 2005. Anyway, that doesn't matter. The gift shop had a cream soda in a can. It was kind of a tallish can, and I remember it being a matte black can with like goldish, like a gold rim type thing. I remember almost looking like a Guinness can, but not Guinness. And I have not been able to figure out what the fuck it was. I do not remember the name of it. I haven't been able to find anything, but if anybody can tell me what that cream soda is, I would love you forever, because I have been dying to have one of those again one day. So what started us on soda? Oh, the Surge 2. Yeah.
Oh wow! Welcome back.
Yeah, I got the Surge 2. I think that's kind of like a Dark Souls-esque combat, but not quite as hardcore. I got Song of Horror Complete Edition. It has really good reviews, and it is a fixed camera horror game. So it's like the old school Resident Evils, hopefully without tank controls.
Okay.
But it looked really cool, so I added it to the bundle. And then I went with Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Don't Dry. Now I went with that because that's the one of the newer ones that they've done. It has really good reviews, and the graphics have been updated. So it's
it's one of like the 3D more.
It's a little easier
ones,
to
right?
play. Yeah, it's a hand drawn like animation, but it's more updated than the older ones. And then in another, I think I paid like $2 to get this bundle. I got Blood Bowl 2, which is Warhammer football.
Yeah.
Which is just hilarious to me. So I was like, I'm cool with that. I'll blow up some orcs. Mordheim, City of the Damned.
I feel like I've heard the title Mordheim, and I don't know.
Mordheim is a tabletop game.
Okay.
I believe it is. It's set. Mordheim City of the Damned is the first video game adaptation of Game Workshop's cult classic tabletop game Mordheim, set in the Warhammer world's decimated Empire City.
Yeah.
Mordheim is a turn-based tactical game where you lead war bands into bloody and lethal skirmishes. Now, if I remember right, was this the game that said it was based on Germany's D&D? No. We have one game on the list that in the comments someone was like, this is based on Germany's version of D&D, and I cannot remember what it was.
Well, if this is owned by Games Workshop, this is a very British product, ultimately.
So, yes, Mordheim, City of the Damned, Rebel Galaxy, which is just, I think, some sort of space game, and Risk of Rain 2. Now, Risk of Rain 2, that I got through some shit with G2A.com, but I'd rather not get into that because I'll just get mad. Risk of Rain 2 looks cool, though, so I'm interested in checking that out. So those are just the most recent adds to the list. Gentlemen, is there anything else you'd like to touch on before we get to our game of the week?
I'm good, man.
No.
Do we want to go ahead and talk about the new poll and all of that and get that out of the way?
Yes, this feels like a good time.
Okay. So the last poll winner, with the tie being broken by our one Turtle Bear Man, the winner was...
So apparently the poll closed at an 8-8 tie, I believe, but Nate hadn't voted yet, and he told us that he had what he wanted to vote for. So we do have a winner.
We had a winner, and it was Doom from 2016. So we played Doom 2 from way back when. Now we're gonna jump into the updated Doom and see how far it's come, because I know it's come pretty far.
One, I cannot tell you how thrilled I am about this. Two, I really hope Octopath jumps back on the list, because I think we'll be ready for an RPG pretty soon.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment too.
Like, the only reason I didn't want Octopath to win was just because we had just played 6 weeks of Dragon Quest XI. And I still want to play more Dragon Quest XI. I'm still going to be playing that in the background while I'm playing some Doom. I didn't quite finish the post-game act.
Yeah, I wasn't quite ready to jump into a JRPG yet again, but for sure, Octopath will be back on there, because that's a game that I've dabbled in on my Switch, but I would really like to finish it and see like what they do with the rest of the game that I haven't seen.
I'm legit excited for that one.
Yeah, I am too. It looks like a fantastic game. It looks like right up my alley.
So the next poll is up, and if you'd like to vote on this, go to the steammachinepodcast.wordpress.com, click the little Discord button, and come join us, man. And there is a text channel. No, I'm sorry, it's not a text channel. It is just a normal channel. There's a channel called Show Poll, and you can vote on what game you'd like to hear about next. And the choices for this poll, Steamy was feeling very RPG-ish, apparently. We have Fallout 3, which I swear to God that he is sentient and heard our conversation last week, because I didn't cheat this. Scout's Honor did not, and Fallout 3 was the first choice it gave us. Because I will say, if I cheated this, that would be Fallout New Vegas. I just want to throw that out there. So, first choice, Fallout 3. Second choice is Titan Quest Anniversary Edition. I don't know a ton about that. So I will look into that.
Looks like it's an action role-playing game. I'm kind of looking at a picture of it right now, and it kind of almost looks like it has kind of a clicky Diablo-type interface. But
awesome.
It's a kind of Greek setting. We've done some Greek settings before. I'm happy to get back into Greece.
Yeah, and I love the Diablo style. Like, point and click, or not point and click, but you know what I mean. Like, clicker RPGs are fun as fuck.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Dishonored Definitive Edition, which I believe Dishonored, you're an assassin, if I remember correctly. I might be thinking that, no, because that's thief. That you're a thief. So yeah, I think it is. I think Dishonored's kind of like a
you are an assassin game,
yeah. So that could be interesting. We have our first classic RPG to come up. D, and I have actually watched Matt Chat do a video on this game. Shout out Matt Chat on YouTube. Menzo Baranzan. That is a AD&D game for PC.
Mm. According to Wikipedia, that uses the same engine as the Ravenloft Strahd's Possession. It's a 1994 role-playing game by SSI. So anyone who wants us to play some old AD&D stuff, there you
go. You could vote for that. And then finally we have Pillars of Eternity, which is an Obsidian. It was like a crowdfunded game. They wanted to do an ode to the old school CRPGs like Baldur's Gate, Planescape Torment, all of that. And I want to say that they met their crowdfunding goal in like a ridiculously short amount of time, if I remember correctly. And they pumped out Pillars of Eternity, and it's apparently really fucking good. It was good enough to get a sequel called Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire, and I'm actually happy that the first game came up, because in the second game you can carry over some stuff.
I know you love that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about Wizardry with that last week. So
yeah, that's a pretty cool looking set of games. So, like you said, not as burnt out on the RPG front. So I think we'll be good if we get into that.
Yeah. Now,
especially since these aren't JRPGs either, they're kind of special.
Yeah.
There's some variety in this whole pack, because I like that we got some like old school computer RPG style stuff. We got an action RPG. We got a action adventure game that's kind of world building heavy.
Yeah, and
there's some cool stuff.
Between Doom and whatever game wins that list, we're going to do a completely random choice, where I'm going to let Steamy pick one.
Go nuts.
And yeah, just let him go ham and see what he picks. So that should be fun.
So that will be the one after Doom and before the current poll.
Yes, so it'll give people plenty of time to vote. And listeners, if you're new, it'll give you time to come join the Discord, get your votes in, whatever you want to hear for. We would love to have you. Come look at our memes. We show memes. If
Sometimes Dalton bakes a pizza and takes photos of it. It has big pepperonis.
Sometimes
It's true.
Yes, sometimes I do. I also bake cookies. I haven't posted pictures of those yet, but I should. They came out.
You've taken pictures. I've seen pictures.
Yes.
There are pictures of the cookies.
They are real.
They are real.
All right, gentlemen. Gato Roboto. Gato Roboto.
OWBS.
Yeah, the obligatory Wikipedia bullshit that I forgot to pull up. So here we go.
It's cool. We had a smooth transition last week. We need to dial back to the comfortable awkwardness. I couldn't even say the word comfortable right. That's how awkward I am. I couldn't even say right when I meant to say right. I said wrong.
Off topic. I'm looking at myself in the webcam. I really need to shave this creepy man neck I got going on, because it's not going to get any more beard-like than this.
Meanwhile, I'm too beard-like. I need to just take a trimmer and get everything down a half inch or so.
Gato
So shaggy looking.
Roboto is a 2D Metroidvania video game developed by American studio Doinksoft, which is fantastic. Is it Oink?
And their evil clone Dinksoft.
And published by Devolver Digital. That joke was not lost on me. Just saying. On May 30th, 2019, this game follows a cat named Kiki attempting to save her owner after they crash land on an alien planet, forcing Kiki to don a mech suit and explore the planet's depths. And it's as ridiculous as it sounds. Nate, I'm going to let you kind of take the helm on this one, buddy, because this was your choice, and I know you really enjoyed this game. And I will pop in with my quips and stuff, but I know that you have played this more than once. So I'll let you kind of...
Yeah, for sure. Like, this is my second playthrough, actually, of this. I've only played it twice. Once I got it for the Switch because it just seemed like a really cute game, and it was on really good discount one day, so I picked it up and decided to play it, and yeah, it was a total blast the first time. Second playthrough, I still think the game rules. Like, some of my favorite things about the game is the exploration, because, like you said, it's a Metroidvania, and it takes heavy cues from Metroid itself, so I'd say leans heavier on the Metroid than the Vania side of it.
And see, I would almost argue that I saw little Vania in there, but I did see a lot of Blaster Master as far as jumping out of your suit and going as like the little fucking kitty. One-hit kill kitty instead of the and it just like in Blaster Master, whatever it was called. I can't remember now. But you would be your little dude and have to get out of your ship and then go do stuff on foot and then come back to get into your ship, car, whatever it was. So I got vibes like that as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never really got too far into Blaster Master as a kid, so I'm actually looking forward to going back into that one because you've mentioned that before too, that you kind of got those vibes from this. But that was actually one of my favorite parts of this game is there was the sections where you were in the mech suit, and then there are sections where you have to kind of try to move the mech suit forward using things that the kitty can pull, like a lever or something like that the kitty can pull to get the mech suit to follow her. And it's just really cute to play through as the kitty and just not be able to take any damage. Those are some of my favorite sections because it's just like pure skill, get from point A to point B without getting hit once. And there was a whole section of the game like that where you're crawling through the vents where I thought that was a really well executed section by the game as well. And I just thought those sections were all super duper fun. So like I said, the gameplay and the music as well also felt like take a lot from Metroid as well, because it kind of followed the more ambient sounds rather than like a big tune like Castlevania or something like that would have.
Yeah, there were some parts especially that there were almost some droning sounds that gave me big Super Metroid vibes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I want to say that the sections where you were just the cat and you like had to just do it well or you fucking die. Fucking frustrated me. I hate one-hit kill deaths just because I am not good. I am a scrub, and I am not good. I try to get good, and I always fail at it. So I will chalk myself up to a Metroidvania scrub, and I will continue to try on more games that we get that are like that. But, oh my god, did it frustrate me at times. There were like a few different times that I messaged the chat like, I don't know if I'm going to get past this part. And then I would get pissed off at myself for letting it defeat me, and then I would go back and try again until I beat it. And sometimes it just took me going to take a break and like coming back with a clear head and then knocking it out, you know. But holy fuck, some of the bosses drove me crazy. And so not even some of the bosses, there were some of the sections, particularly when you were the cat and you were going through the ventilation system and you got to that part where you dropped down and that goddamn rat had the big wall of spikes. And then you then had to haul ass through this obstacle course, basically, to get to the other end before the wall closes in on you. There was one fucking part every single time. I would get to it. I'd go in the water like I'm supposed to. I would go near the bomb. I would swim up so the bomb couldn't get me, waiting for the bomb to go off. That goddamn fish that was swimming in there. There's this big fish-looking thing, and it, like, puffs up and then shoots a bunch of balls of energy out, and every single time, one of those balls of energy would hit me and kill me, and I have to do it all over again. I did that, like, 30 times before I got it, And that one I did not get up. That one I did over and over and over until I fucking beat it, because I was like, you stupid fish, I'm going to make sushi out of you.
Yeah, I found like a lot of sections like that where it was like move fast, move fast, move fast. That's really what you need to do, is just move fast. Like, because the faster you got past one enemy, it gave it less time to do the explosion thing. So my whole strategy when I got to something like that was just to move.
Yeah, I never let the mines explode. I would just go past them to where they wouldn't be able to hit me with their splashes.
Well, this one in particular...
I was going to say that...
Oh, go ahead.
Usually on the on-foot sections, or on-paw sections, I guess you could say, I felt like the save rooms were pretty generous, but if you were struggling with that room in particular, that was a fairly long section. I didn't think it was hard, but if you died at the very end of it repeatedly, I could see where that one would be very frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely saw that section too there as the boss battle of that section, so... Yeah. It's understandable why that one was more difficult, but yeah. And the first time I played it, I feel like I died there a couple times as well.
Yeah,
I didn't, and I'm kind of surprised you guys had trouble with it. Maybe I got lucky.
I didn't this time, but...
I will say that the one boss that both of you were surprised that I had trouble with, the underwater guy, once I figured out that when he did that, like, area of effect attack that he would do that would send balls out in every direction, that if you swam all the way over towards him, that when he shot them, you were already behind them. So, like, I didn't realize that. I was just trying to avoid these rockets that were coming at me, and then I would just get hit by these things, and I'm like, they're unavoidable. And then I was trying to redirect the rockets to hit them to blow open a hole. That wasn't working either. I was getting real frustrated, and then I just accidentally swam over here, and they went right by me, and I went, oh. And then I wrecked his ass after that, but...
I feel like there's a couple mechanics that we could explain to make this make a little bit more sense. So, first thing I'll point out is, like, the graphic style of this game is, like, NES-style retro, but it's 1-bit color. It's literally everything is just on or off. Like, it's very, very minimalistic in the graphic style. And we mentioned you're either in the robot or not, but occasionally you're in a submarine. And when you're in the submarine, it operates like what Dalton was saying. There's this very shmuppish control where you hold up to go up, hold down to go down, press the button to shoot, left, right, go left or right. Yep. And so that one boss in that one section kind of goes away from the platforming and running gun platforming of most of the game and into, it's very much a, like, Gradius type boss fight. Yeah. So it's a completely different skill set.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
I also feel like for people that don't play a lot of those kind of shoot 'em up games, a lot of people don't often realize that, like, going dodging towards stuff is a helpful play, because you move forward to buy yourself room to dodge backwards later, basically. And I think that's something really unintuitive that, unless you were a bit more familiar with that genre, it's not something you would do on your first try.
Yeah, and I'm not super familiar with that genre. Like, I played Hollow Knight, and that's probably the one that I've enjoyed the most that I've played as far as Metroidvania games, because I've never really fucked around with Metroid other than when I was young. I had a neighbor who had Super Metroid, and we would play that. I was never any good at it, though. And then I've dabbled in Castlevania, but I'm fucking garbage at that, too. I'm really good at, like, whipping
both of those games have some really idiosyncratic controls too. Like in the old Castlevania games, you can't move any control in the air whatsoever, so like that's weird. And like Metroid, I feel like she's like the opposite. Samus kind of is either going forward or backwards. Like you can't stop her when she's moving there, but you can like wiggle back and forth. So like both of those games have really quirky controls if you're not used to those games.
The Castlevania Anniversary Collection is on the list, by the way. And that's got awesome. I don't know, 6 Castlevania games or something like that.
I think it's 7 if you count Kid Dracula.
That's right. Glaring omission is Symphony of the Night,
which drives me insane. Release it for Steam, you cowards!
Like, God, if they could just look at how much money Atlas made by releasing Persona 4 Golden on Steam, when the only time you could play that before was on a Vita. And, like, who the fuck has a Vita? Not me.
I just don't understand Konami. I get mad every time I think about Konami, so I'm going to stop thinking about Konami.
Well, real quick, they're the pachinko people right now.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah. I couldn't. I'm like, was it Konami or was it? There was another one that was back in the day that used to release a bunch of games that it just went away, and now my mind blanked and I can't remember what the fuck I was trying to remember.
LJN.
It was a PlayStation. It might be Konami that I'm thinking of. I don't fucking know. So yeah, the graphic style of this game. While I'm thinking about it, there's also the cartridges that you could find while you were running around.
Yeah.
And I'm interested. Which ones did you guys use? Like, did you have one that you stuck with once you got it?
So personally, I didn't have one that I liked the best. Like what I did this time when I played, every time I got new one, I would just swap to that one and play with that for a while. There's some that are really kind of not fun to look at for a very long period of time, but there's some that I think have really good coolness to them. Like I like the cooler color palettes better than the warmer ones, personally.
Yeah, the brighter ones kind of hurt your eyes a little bit. Like, what about you, Will?
I really liked all the ones that had like a brown background color. So the way the cartridges in the game work is you pick up like old school video game cartridges, like they look kind of like NES or Famicom cartridges or something when you're wandering around. And when you grab one, you can change the game color palette, the foreground and background color. And they're little bundled up. Like you get one that's called Mint, and the background color will be like a deeper green, and the front will be like a minty fresh green, or something like that. Anyway, I really remember liking like called Coffee Shop or something like that. It was just a nice, very brownish color scheme, and there was another brown I liked even more, but I can't remember what it was now.
I ended up using, I think it was called Goop, and it just made it green. And because it made me, it really, honestly, it's funny that it came up on the list. It made me think of Fallout 3. When you look at your Pip-Boy, your little thing on your arm, it's in that same greenish color. And I don't know about in 3, but I know in Fallout 4, you can find little mini games on tape decks that you can put into your Pip-Boy and then play them. So that's what it looked like to me. It was like one of these games that you could play on your Pip-Boy, and I was like, that's really cool. So that's how once I found that one, that's what I played with the rest of the game. I did look at some of the other ones, like I got the Virtual Boy one and was like, holy shit, this would just give me a headache, which I think is why the Virtual Boy didn't sell. It's because
Yeah, I don't think all the color palettes were designed to be actually useful. I think they're just references to some things. Like there's one that looks like the Game Boy, and like you said, that one looks like the Virtual Boy. So I don't think like that one, I don't think it was ever intended to be actually long-term used while playing the game, but I think that they were just more references to things.
I honestly was looking for the one that looked like the original Game Boy and never found it.
Like Swamp Matcha, I think they called it.
Yeah, Swamp Matcha was very Game Boy looking.
Yeah, no, the closest one...
I did like that
When I got that one, my Twitch chat, because I streamed to this game, my Twitch chat was like, oh, it's Game Boy mode! So we played on Game Boy mode for a while.
Nice. Yeah, I had family over this weekend, so I did try to lurk while you were streaming. And then the one time I sat down to watch the stream, I watched it some, went to the bathroom, and came back, and it was like, oh, heck, you done dang missed it. And I was like, I missed the end. Damn it!
Now I have to beat it.
Now I have to beat it, yeah. Which... Let's talk about the ending really quickly. Actually, no. I guess we can continue on from where we were at because we're jumping around, doing jumping.
And we were jumping around a lot. So I guess like the main thing to think about in terms of how this game works is like you start off, you get crash land onto this planet because you got a signal from it, and the people are like, no, there's not supposed to be any life on this planet. And then the human asks for permission to move closer to it. And then Kitty hits the keyboard, makes the whole thing crash onto that planet, which I thought was just really hilarious and nice touch because, cats are always just out there trying to knock things off your counters and destroy the planet, just cat things.
Just cat things.
So I thought that was a really cute way to start the game. And then, so basically your human's injured, and that's why the cat has to go out and do everything. So the cat finds the mech suit in the first area of the game, and then you find your way down to the central hub, which splits off into 3 paths that you can take. They are linear. You are supposed to do one after the other, kind of. I did get a achievement for sequence breaking because I did the second section first.
Now,
and that gave me a Steam achievement for that.
Now, what order are they supposed to be done in?
So it's supposed to be the water one, the fire one, and then the air vent.
Okay, so I did them in order then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard to not do them in order unless you kind of play with mechanics that you would have learned in your first playthrough to figure out how to break it.
Yeah, in my notes I put down that I wasn't sure if it was just some kind of invisible signposting, but it seemed like a much more linear game than a lot of Metroidvanias I've played. Like, not that it's like completely linear, but you get to what's supposed to be a hub area, but it clearly, once you go to the aqueduct first and then the the cooling core or the heater core, and then the lab. And it reminded me a lot of the first couple hours of Metroid Fusion, where you have a hub area that you then go into, chamber 1, then chamber 2, then chamber 4, and it's kind of prescribed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it still has that Metroidvania gameplay. There's still the exploration. You can still backtrack and stuff, but I feel like it didn't let you go on false roads a lot. Like, a lot of the time, it was either go left or go right, and if you went left and you couldn't go there, you'd go 2 screens and be like, okay, clearly I need something else. I'll go right then.
But
yeah, that's one way where it was a lot less like Metroid, because I know a lot of people complain about Metroid where you have to basically kick every pixel in the game to move forward. In this game, there's not really any of that. It's pretty straightforward on the directions it wants you to go in most of the time.
Just be careful when you're playing Metroid, because if you accidentally stumble into the 36th chamber, you will find Wu-Tang Clan and they will whoop your ass.
Ain't nothing to fuck with.
But yeah, so moving from there, you feed those 3 chambers, and then you can go access the laboratory. And once you get down there, the plot kind of unveils itself. And the cool thing about the game is there's a recurring enemy that's kind of like the boss of every section. It's just this little mouse that squeaks at you, and the cat meows at it, and the human's like, exterminate the rat kitty.
That fucking rat.
Yeah, and so that's the boss of each different section is that little mouse that you see throughout the game. And then when you finally beat those 3 sections, you can go down into the laboratory, which is the final section of the game, where you find out all the plot details of what was going on in that planet while you were gone. Well, while you weren't there.
What? And real quick, when you were in the lava area, you destroy there's an angry lava tank that you have to destroy. And once you break him, he tells you that he's not the only one. You have to worry about his family now. He's like, avenge me, brother! And then he explodes. When you get to his brother, it is a giant lava tank with a mustache. And he starts reaming you about killing his brother, who was just a young boy. You killed him before he could even grow a mustache! And at that point, I paused the game because I was just laughing. I couldn't pay attention to what was going on. This game's got really good writing.
Yeah, it does have some pretty good writing. It doesn't reach Portal levels or anything insane like that, but I did think the writing was pretty darn good.
It's cute and lighthearted.
Right there at the end, when you're going to go on the elevator to head down into the laboratory, the computer's like, by the way, this elevator has no return function, so technically, this is the point of no return. So if you were being controlled by a human, and they say wanted to go and gather up everything else to feel, 100%, then don't go any further yet. Go and back and do what you want to do. And I thought that was a good way to kind of put it in there. Yo, by the way, if you're a completionist, turn the fuck around, go finish everything.
Which was super helpful for me in my first playthrough, because I got there and I was really close to being 100% on my first playthrough when I went there, and they told me, I was like, oh, I better not go down here yet until I find the last health kits, because the only real things that you find, other than the initial pickups for the mech suit, and the missiles and stuff like that, is just health pickups, where it expends your maximum health by 1 point, and the pallets, the cartridges.
Yeah, and every now and then you'll find the thing that adds a new function, the dash and stuff like that. But yeah,
but that's kind of in the course of the game. You kind of have to look a little bit sideways to get to some of the, because there were a couple of abilities too that gave you some less than intuitive maneuvering. I feel like working out the equivalent of a Metroid bomb jump took me a few tries, because it's you want to jump up, shoot a rocket downward, and still be holding the jump button when you hit the explosion. That took me a little bit of time to work out. Yeah,
so the way I was able to do the sequence break is actually if you just jump into a wall and hit the rocket at the right time, you can actually get a jump off of that. So you can get really high doing that if you can jump off a wall while you can do that jump maneuver.
Yeah, dudes, I never would have figured out half of that shit. I cheesed my way through one room. I don't even know how I got through it, but I ended up just costing myself 4 hits of HP. But I made it through just by bouncing off of enemies and making it to where I needed to go. I think I finished this game with the least amount of health, didn't I?
Yeah, you ended up with, you said 10 total HP,
yeah.
So I had 14 or 15.
Yeah, I had the max, which I believe was 16.
I can't imagine beating this game without getting one of them. One of the achievements is beat it without getting any of the health upgrades. No, thank you.
Yeah, there's 2 achievements I didn't get. It was the getting the health upgrades and speed run. Because the speed run, you have to beat the game in under an hour. I beat it in 3.
It took.
Yeah, I was on almost exact. I was like 1 minute after over 3 hours. But one thing I thought was really cool was the fact that the achievements include like traditional Metroidvania like accomplishments, like speed run the game, beat the game at 100%, beat the game at low percent, sequence break the game. Like I thought it was cool that they were like making little references to like staples of the genre in the achievement system. Like I thought that was a neat little thing they did there.
Yeah. And there's one that for beating the game that I really like the title of that achievement a lot, but I guess before we tell you that achievement, we should talk about the end of the game.
Yeah, please explain the ending to me because I watched it and could not tell you what the fuck happened.
Okay, so at the ending of the game, you get down. You have to go through the laboratory. So there's first you go through a section with an elevator, which is basically just a long survival section where it throws a ton of enemies at you and projectiles coming at you. You have to avoid them, defeat the enemies to get down to the bottom of the elevator. And then once you do that, you get a save point. And then it's pretty generous with save points from there. Then you have to fight through the laboratory to get to the final room where you will see the rat one more time. And you'll notice that the rat has the human up in one of those little canisters that I guess we didn't really talk about before, but in the laboratory there's all these canisters filled with liquid. So basically the rat has your human up there and transfers his brain into the body of the human.
Yeah.
So they basically swap bodies. And you find out that the rat the whole time was this scientist that was that worked for like this defense system. He hated his job because he was like designing weapons to kill people and all that kind of stuff. And then he had this little dog that they sent to him that he was taking care of. And he thought the dog was close to dying. So his goal was, whenever that distress signal that came out at the very beginning of the game that caused you guys to come near the planet in the first place, he'd been kind of tracking soldiers and their pets. And he's like, thought that the human would make a good match for him and the cat would make a good match for his dog so they could swap the bodies there and then just kind of destroy the old bodies, essentially, of the rat and the dog.
Some Pinky in the Brain shit.
Yeah. That's a really good way to put it. It really is the Pinky in the Brain. And so, when you get there, they swap bodies, and you actually have to fight the human who has his own mech suit that you have to fight off first. And so then you have your first phase of the boss battle, because obviously you're going to have 2 phases of your final boss, right? So you beat the first phase, and it's a pretty good fight. Like, you have to jump around, avoid his projectiles, and hit him on like the dome of his mech, so you have to like swoop and go underneath him, jump up on the other side and shoot rockets into his head, basically. You finally beat that section, he kind of like explodes and takes off, and the human runs off into the other room. At that point, you kind of follow him, and you actually get a full health refill at that point, so the game is really generous there.
Yeah, that saved my ass.
And so in the second form, he's like, "Ha, you think I need a mech suit with this body? I now have the brain of a genius and a body of a man who's killed so many people," or something like that.
Yeah, it was like,
and like so, like you fight the unmeched up version of your human at that point too. And so then you have to fight him and kill him again. But at the end, like you get him down to where he runs out of his health and he shoots this giant laser beam that kind of like takes you down, like destroys your mech suit and all of that. And then it basically, he's like, what happens then?
Doesn't he just like drop dead and the dog comes running up and
the dog comes in next. The dog interrupts whatever's happening.
Oh yeah, because like the tubes start to break where the dog was held up because where he was going to put Kiki in to switch the dog and the cat. Yeah. And so like the tubes break and the dog comes down and he's like in his own normal brain, and the dog doesn't recognize his owner at that point, and so the dog attacks him.
Yeah, that's right, and that's how he ends up ending.
Yeah. And so at that point the dog's like, the dog and the cat start talking in woofs and meows. Because, like, the human host is dead at that point. You killed him. He's gone. For good. Yep. And so they start talking, and the dog, like, starts running, and you follow the dog, and the dog has his own spaceship, and you guys take off and ride off into the proverbial sunset.
Yeah, that was the part that I didn't get. I was like, so after all that, the cat just gets into a spaceship with a dog and flies off. They're not going to explain why that just happened. Like, how can the dog fly the plane? How did they communicate with one another? Where are they going?
Yeah. I feel like in a video game where you're a cat piloting a mech suit, there's a lot of questions that aren't going to be answered by normal logic.
Fair point. That is a fair point.
And so when you get that and you beat the game, the achievement pops up, save the animals, a reference to Super Metroid, which I really appreciated.
Nice.
Yes, it's a reference to the whole games done quick marathon where the people vote whether they want to save or kill the animals at the end, which is a speedrunning thing where you can save the animals at the end, but it takes a couple extra seconds or whatever to go back up and save the animals. So that's like one of the big voting things in the Super Metroid run they do every year. And so I don't know, that did make me smile. The names of the achievements made me smile a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like there were a lot of just amusing things.
It makes
in
me
there.
sad.
Which reminds me, you actually did something that I haven't done. Like you actually rebooted into the game after you beat the game and got a kind of a neat little cutscene for doing so.
Yeah, so I just kind of was like, okay, the elevator said you can't get 100% on this file once you go down there, but I'm stubborn, and so I just wanted to check and see what would happen if I loaded the file back in, and the cat was in a bed, and I was like, okay, let's see what's going on. So I walk around, I'm in the dog's escape pod spaceship, and it's like, the dogs there, I can like hang out with them, go downstairs, and there's a rat. And the rat, it looks like the evil doctor you've been fighting the whole time. And the rat just looks at you and is like, good kitty. I mean, squeak. And so it kind of turns out that when they got their brains switched or whatever, the rat, which was the original human that you were with, managed to escape onto the escape pod with you guys.
It is now Gary, right?
Yeah. Gary, that's the human's name. Thank you.
Nice. That's what's up.
So I saw that on your VOD, and I thought that was really cute.
Yeah.
I played this on Twitch because, let me rephrase that. I didn't stream this on Twitch, but Twitch Prime gave this to me for free at one point. So I didn't have any cool achievements. I didn't get any achievements or anything. So it's cool to hear though that they had those references to those games that obviously inspired it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
How many kitties?
I feel like.
Go ahead.
Oh, just I don't know. One thing I thought was really cool about this game too is when you bring up the end credits, like there's a lot of credits, but almost all of them are Devolver Digital personnel, the publisher. I only noticed like 5 names that I think were the actual developer. 3 people listed as Dwanksoft, 1 person listed as animations, and 1 person listed as key artwork. So I think this game was made by a team of just like 5 people, and like I don't know. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, it's impressive for sure. One other thing before I forget too that I wanted to point out was I had way more trouble with the bosses throughout the game than I did the final boss. Like I beat the final boss in first try.
I almost feel like you were having like some weird struggles during parts of the game. I think you were just not quite used to the controls all the way. Didn't get fluent with it till the end. Because like I feel like you struggled with the game a lot more than I would expect. Like I honestly think that ultimately this was an easy game. And I'm kind of surprised you had this much trouble.
I'm telling you, man.
I guess just different people struggle with different things.
Wait till we pull up another Metroidvania. You're gonna hear me fucking struggling again.
Well, Nate's the one who's good at platforming. Like I'm fairly average at these games.
Oh, well, speaking of platforming, real quick before we give our how many kitties is this game? How do you feel about Doom Eternal having some platforming in it? Apparently.
I'm just going to play Doom Eternal before I make up my mind about anything in it. Because, I mean, I get that, like, I like the idea of the double barrel shotgun now has a grappling hook on it. Like, let's just, hey, let's take goofy, silly Doom and make it more goofy, silly, and awesome.
That's the same way I feel about it. And I think that people are getting worked up over it are just...
I think people forget that even, like, Doom 2 had some basic platforming in it as well.
Yeah, you had to run
Yeah,
fast.
I mean, the end of Tricks and Traps,
Yeah, like, you have to actually do some Doom platforming, and I think... I haven't played the game Doom Eternal myself, but I have watched a couple YouTube videos on it, and it looks like it's pretty well done, in all honesty.
Yeah.
I think it was the original Doom. It might be Doom. No, it might be Doom 2. Either way. The demon wall at the end that you have to... the big goat head demon wall.
That's Doom 2, yeah.
So there's a voice that plays at one point, and it's backwards. It's backmasked and all that, right? And if you... I figured you knew this already, will you? If you play it backwards, it's John Romero saying, like, you have to kill me. In order to beat the game, you have to kill me. If you use no clip and go into the hole in the head that you have to shoot into, there is a fucking little animated John Romero's head in there. And I thought that was such a cool little Easter egg.
I can one-up you on that because I can make this story even cooler. So... the John Romero head was put in there by the other coders, but John Romero wasn't told about it. And it was getting pretty close to the end of the game. John Romero goes in there because he's just one of those guys. He's either working or he's playing the game all the time. He comes in late night. He's just kind of curious. He knows close back to see what's there. He sees his own head on the spike. He does the recording to mess with them. They don't know what it says either until they play it backwards. They think they're in trouble when they get back to that build of the game.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I didn't know about that part. I knew about the John Romero head thing, but...
That's awesome. Yeah, I was watching a gaming Easter egg iceberg the other day, and that was one of them on there. And I was like, oh, I have to remember to bring that up because that's cool.
Yeah, it's classic. There's a lot of fun Easter eggs in gaming, and I don't know. I think that's like something that we should definitely like. Whenever we see a fun Easter, like just even little call-outs there, like the names of the achievements and stuff in Gato Roboto. Like if there's something cute like that, we should definitely bring it up because I feel like I get so much enjoyment out of those little winks and nods.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I look forward to when we pull Just Cause 3. There's a couple, and Just Cause 2. Like both of them, they have some Easter eggs in them that are fun to find.
I'd love to play Just Cause because I'm going to get Skyrim syndrome in those games though because there's no way I'm not going to be just messing around doing stuff I'm not supposed to.
Oh man, take a cow, attach it to like a couple different tanks of gas so you can shoot those. They fire off into the air. Take the cow with it. You know, it's it's tremendous.
And it's awesome, like games like that where there's so much ridiculous bullcrap you can do. Like I still watch people find new tech in like Breath of the Wild every month or so. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's wild how much they put into Breath of the Wild. No pun intended. It's crazy. Yeah, the amount of stuff in that game that I was like, oh, you mean if I have this torch and stand under this tree with a fruit that it will cook the fruit and then the cooked fruit will fall to the ground and I can just pick it up? All right then. Who the fuck would have thought of that?
Or if you kill an Octorok, you can take the Octorok balloon, attach a bomb to it, find a windy spot, and let the wind push it until you can explode it over on the other side of a valley.
There you go. I had no idea you could do that. I like that, like the dirty weapons or whatever, you can just like throw them into the creature to spit it back at you, all clean.
Oh yeah.
But we're getting sidetracked, gentlemen. If you had to give Gato Roboto 1 out of 10 kitties, how many would you give it?
What do you got?
Me? I'm going to give it a solid 7. Personally. It's probably better than a 7. But for
That's
me,
fair.
It was a 7.
I mean, we got to rate it for ourselves. Like, for me personally, like I know I'm going to give this a higher number, but I think it's a solid 8.
Yeah, this game... the thing about this game is it doesn't aim to do anything especially hard, but it excels at what it sets out to do. And I feel like that's the hallmark of an 8. You know, like that's exactly the score I was going into this with too. It's a really impressive small game, and as long as you're willing to accept it's a small game, I think it does everything really nicely. I'm going to go back into it. I don't know if I'm going to 100% it, 0% it, or try to speedrun it for the 1 hour thing. I'm going to go for one of those achievements at some point in the near future.
Yeah, and the thing about the game, I think, like, you know, we've talked about these bigger games, like, they're a whole meal. This game's just a snack. You know what I mean? It's not one that you're going to get 100 hours out of, but it's going to be one that you spend the time with, you have it, and you enjoy it for pretty much the amount of time you have it. It's not one that I think you want to play over and over and over and over again, but I think once a year it's worth a good playthrough.
Yeah, and I think, like, you know, I want to start getting into game dev. I've been kind of tinkering with a lot of things. I don't have anything full to, you know, put out there anytime soon, but, like, one of the things I would love to make is kind of a minimalistic Metroidvania type game. Like, I'm playing this game and I'm thinking, this is kind of what I'd like to do, you know?
Do me a favor, though, if you do it. Give me 2 hits before I die. That's all I ask. Someone please explain to me how the number 1 speed run for this game is 20 minutes and 23 seconds.
I'd have to watch it.
Yeah, I've got to look into that now.
It was posted 9 months ago.
I actually did not research speed runs going into this. I just kind of played it.
Neither, but it is cool. One thing I didn't mention, it does have an in-game timer that keeps track of how you can see it anytime you're in the mech suit.
Man, this Austin Blatlock, I think's his name, has number 1 for all 3. There's
all categories?
Unrestricted, he has first. No small mech, he has first. And no major skips, he has first.
Nice.
And he has the 100% run. And he has the low percent run. Damn. Homeboy's been busy with this game. That's wild. Speedrunners blow my mind.
Okay. So it looks like small mech is a glitch that lets you get a lot of saves on this. I'm going to guess it lets you take the mech into things that are usually kitty-sized. Because the no small mech, the real-time, or the in-game time record is 32 minutes.
Still
so
fast.
There's probably
That's
a lot of time saving. That's still really fast. I'm just saying that it was like 20 for any percent.
Yeah.
So
I just want to say, this game took me, I think, like 6.5 hours.
Yeah.
Took both of you. If you took both your times and combined them, and then added a few minutes, that was my run.
People have trouble with different things, you know. I mean, again, you got really stymied by that underwater boss, and I think that you were kind of playing flustered for a lot of the game too, and that never makes it easy to be cool and do a lot of the platform. Like, I was like streaming, so I was only half paying attention, and I was so sure that this game was like short and easy that I was just really overconfident, but it ended up working out for me.
Yeah.
It's a good one to stream, though. I mean,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
I meant to.
The only reason I don't want to stream going for 100 is just because I'm feeling like I'm going to spend a lot of time banging my head against walls. Thinking I might stream going for 100 sometime too, because I'm like, hey chat, help.
And I can.
Yeah, you actually you got 100% going into this one.
Yeah,
right?
I've done it twice now.
Okay, so you would know where things are. I might have to ask you.
I'm probably gonna end up. I would like to stream Doom at some point, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably gonna end up splitting my time between Doom and Pathfinder Kingmaker. So.
Yeah, I noticed you got a lot of hours in that baby lately.
Man, it's really good. It's fun. I like it. It'll come up on the show eventually, I'm sure. It's a long fucking game though. Long.
Yeah, the reason I remember the title is when you made that list of how long every game was. That one was like pretty much the longest game I'd heard of that wasn't just like, you know, any percent playing FIFA a million years. Like some of them.
Yeah, I want to say like Kingmaker's campaign is 120 hours or something like that. It's up there. It's up maybe 80. I don't know. It's somewhere up. It's up there though. But I'm just kind of dabbling in it and fucking around. So I'm not taking it too seriously. You know, just trying out different character builds because it's basically a pen and paper game, but in a video game. So like, there's all kinds of classes and different combinations of classes. You can multi-class and do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that sounds fun because if I remember right, the Pathfinder gameplay system is basically just like when D&D made their 4th edition. A lot of people wanted to stick around with something more similar to 3rd, and so Pathfinder was kind of like 3.75 edition is how I've heard people describe
basically.
it. Where it's supposed to fix a lot of the balance issues. I don't know how successful it is, but 3rd edition people seem really happy to stick around with Pathfinder. So I know a lot of people that play it, they seem to really enjoy it. So I'd like to give it a try sometime. I remember playing a little 3rd edition back in the day.
My introduction to D&D was 3.5, so I know those rules pretty well. I mean, as much as I can with the amount that I smoke, but so like that's where my nostalgia lies. So like a lot of the stuff I remember in Pathfinder is like, it might have different names and things like that, but I kind of have the gist and know what I'm doing, as opposed to I have a lot less knowledge in 5th edition, which is what's popular these days with D&D.
To my understanding, 5th edition kind of went the opposite track as 4th, where 4th was very tactical, very almost wargaming like. 5th went back to like kind of 3rd, but they wanted to streamline it a lot. Like, instead of arbitrary pluses and minuses, they created a system called advantage and disadvantage, where like you roll a die twice and you just take the higher number, and it's like so intuitive that it feels like it's been around for forever. Like, the moment you start playing it, you're like, this makes sense. This feels like it could have been a mechanic from the start. Which I think that's how you know a mechanic's really clever, when it feels like someone should have thought of it many, many years ago.
Yeah, and I'm also like, I'm a lenient DM. Like, if you tell me you want to do a backflip and then come down and stab the enemy with your sword, I'm just going to be like, yeah, roll to hit. I'm not going to be like, okay, roll me a maneuverability check, then roll me a perception check to get where your sword's going in the right place while you're upside down. Like, that's too in-depth for me. I'm like, did you roll over 17? You hit. You do this crazy backflip and stab down into them. Roll damage. And based on your damage, I will tell you like how deep you cut into them and stuff. Like,
when players have creative solutions or really want to get into it too, I think that's one cool thing about the advantage-disadvantage system, is you can just say like, okay, that sounds like it would give you a really cool thing there's not a mechanical, obvious way to handle. Like, when players come up with like some really clever solution about like using the lighting in the room to trip up the enemy's visibility or something, you're like, okay, yeah, that sounds really smart. Roll with advantage.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it just, I feel like that gives a lot of fun for more freeformy DMs.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's really easy to just be like, okay, roll with disadvantage, instead of being like, all right, calculate this, and that, and then get back to me in 15 minutes. I'm gonna talk to everyone else now. All right, I think that about does it for this week, gentlemen. Nate, plug your stuff, good sir.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/turtlebearman. Also on Twitch at twitch.tv/turtlebearman.
And Willie?
Hey, I've streamed Gato Roboto. I may stream Doom 4 this week. I may not, because I'm not absolutely certain how well it'll handle with my computer, and also I don't know if I wanted people to watch me play Doom 4, because it's like, I'm kind of good at Doom 2, and I mean, not great, but I'm okay at it, and I know I'm going to look like an absolute fool playing Doom 2016, so, like, I may or may not stream, depends on my confidence in my computer, my timing. I don't know if I want to stream the whole game, and if I do start streaming, I might be tempted to stream the whole thing, so we'll just see, because I know that that's the same issue I had with Dragon Quest XI, was you kind of wanted to stream it, Dalton, but then you were like, oh, if I stream, I'm going to have to stream every hour I play, and that's not going to be worth it. And I'm kind of doing that calculus in my head with Doom, so I might stream that. I might just stream some classic Doom 2 in between things this week. I don't know, because I'm always I'm always up for some Doom.
For sure. And
I'm sorry, I actually should give my addresses. The address on both Twitch and Twitter is Icebrand Studios. No underscore, no whatever, just at Icebrand Studios. I haven't tweeted. I don't think I've tweeted since 2012 or something on that account. Something ridiculous like that. When is my tweet from? I have one tweet on that account, I think. I tweeted once in 2011.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yep.
You should just tweet 10 years later, still nothing to say.
The sad part is that tweet was about me moving a game project I was working on from one version of Flash to another.
Flash.
Yup.
Wow.
Yeah. When you have one tweet and it doesn't age well.
Well, also, go check out the steammachinepodcast.wordpress.com. Again, I'll mention it. It's got links to both of these gentlemen's Twitches plus mine. I do stream here and there, but not nearly as often as Mr. Nate, old Turtle Bear Man. And here recently, Willie has streamed more than me too. So check those out. There's also like a list to the merch store. You want to get a sweet ass Steam Machine Podcast shirt? Go hit up the merch link. You join the Discord. Come vote for whatever game you'd like to hear. Come chat with us. Talk video games. There's a link for that. Facebook, more your thing. There's a link for Facebook. There's a link to the Twitter. Literally anything that you could possibly want other than pictures of our penises are on the steammachinepodcast.wordpress.com. And if you want those kinds of pictures, DM us. We can talk about that privately.
Do come to the Discord.
Ain't gonna be cheap.
Do come to the Discord though. Because like this one is going to be a hard one for me to vote on personally. I don't know these games very well, and I'm easily sold. So come by and go to the show chat channel or the general chat channel. Or is Games List one you can post in if you're not? No, okay. So show chat or general chat, and make a case for one of those games, or make a case for why we wouldn't like one of those games. Give us some info. Give your other voters an info, and you can tell us what you voted for. This isn't a secret ballot. Like it lists what you got. So if you guys have thoughts on these games, you have a reason why we want to pick. I don't think any of us has voted yet, although I think 3 early birds have already seen the poll and made votes.
Oh shit.
Something like that.
Oh no, that's 2. Yeah.
2. Yeah, Jeff
and Fenris.
And Fenris already on it. They were ready.
Oh, it's interesting too. They both voted for something different. So yeah, come make your vote known, man. I'd love to see these polls start popping. You know.
Yeah, get lobby and get involved.
Yeah, you see some.
Donate to the cause. Give the super PAC $1 million for your favorite game.
A small loan of $1 million.
Vote Nader.
Oh man. On that note, they are the Brothers of Destruction, Nate and Willie, otherwise known as Turtle Bear Man and Icebrand. My name is Dalton. Rest in peace, Joey Jordanson. As always, guys, take it easy.
I can't believe the last thing I said on this episode was vote for Nader. Stopping.